Every man thinks marriage will make his woman more loyal, more secure, more devoted. That once the ring is on her finger, the deal is locked, and he can finally relax. But here's the truth no one dares to say. Marriage changes women more than it changes men. And not in the way you think. At first it looks perfect. She's affectionate, passionate, and deeply invested. She plans the future with you. She talks about kids, homes, vacations. You believe this is proof that her love is permanent. But the moment the vows are said, a shift begins. It's not dramatic at first. It's subtle. The kisses become less urgent. The texts take longer to reply. The passion that burned before the wedding starts to cool, and you find yourself asking what happened. She wanted this. She fought for this. Why does it feel like she's slipping away now that she has it? Here's the uncomfortable truth. Marriage gives her something it doesn't give you. For you, it's a commitment. For her, it's a guarantee. And guarantees kill desire. What once felt like a prize to be earned has now become a possession she can take for granted. That shift from pursuit to security rewires her psychology in ways most men never see until it's too late. Think of it like this. Before marriage, you are the challenge. You represent mystery, uncertainty, the thrill of conquest. She works to impress you, to keep your attention, to prove she's the one. But after marriage, the challenge disappears. She knows you're not going anywhere. And when the challenge is gone, something inside her changes. The very thing that made her burn with passion now whispers, "I've already won." And here's where men get blindsided. They confuse comfort with happiness. You think giving her stability is what will keep her satisfied forever. But what you don't see is that stability, while valuable, doesn't feed her hidden desires. Her biology is still craving novelty, validation, excitement. But now, instead of chasing it openly, she buries those cravings beneath the mask of being a good wife. And the more she hides it, the stronger it grows. That's why you'll see wives begin to pull away emotionally, even when nothing is wrong. She's not angry. She's not hurt. She's restless. Restless because the very security she once claimed to want has become the cage of predictability. She'll never say it out loud because she doesn't want to sound ungrateful. But in her heart, she knows. The man who once thrilled me now feels routine. And it's not because you changed. It's because marriage changed the way she sees you. Before, your attention was proof she was winning. After, your attention is expected. Before, your devotion was exciting. After, your devotion is background noise. This is why so many men say the same heartbreaking words. She changed after marriage. Of course she did. Marriage gave her the guarantee she didn't even know would kill the fire. It's not that she stopped loving you. It's that the version of her that thrived on pursuit, validation, and competition no longer exists in the safety of marriage. And here's the brutal part. Society will never admit this. They'll say she just matured, or that you stopped trying, or that passion naturally fades. But those are half-truths. The real truth is that marriage flips a switch in her psychology. What was once scarce becomes abundant. What was once exciting becomes predictable. And predictability is the enemy of desire. Think about it. A man can eat his favorite meal every day for years and still enjoy it. But for a woman, attraction isn't like food. It's like fire. It needs oxygen, mystery, uncertainty, danger to keep burning. Once the oxygen is gone, the flame doesn't die instantly. It flickers. It struggles, and then one day it's out, and you're left staring at a woman who looks like your wife but doesn't love like your wife. This is why so many men feel blindsided after tying the knot. They thought marriage was the finish line, the reward for years of devotion. But for her, it was just the beginning of a new game. A game you don't even know you're playing. A game where her secret desires grow louder, and your consistency becomes invisible. Here's the question you need to ask yourself. Are you willing to see the truth? Because if you don't, you'll be just another man saying, "I don't understand. She begged me to marry her. She said this was all she wanted. So why does it feel like I lost her the moment I gave it to her?" The answer is simple, brother. Marriage changes women, not because they're evil, not because they don't love you, but because security rewires the very cravings that made her fall for you in the first place. And if you don't understand that shift, you'll never see what's coming until it's too late. Most men believe marriage is a promise of permanence. You put the ring on her finger, you commit your life to her, and you think that love will stay the same. But marriage is not a pause button. It's a transformation, and it affects women more than men in ways most husbands never see coming. Let's be clear. Women don't plan to change. They don't walk down the aisle thinking, "I'll give him passion now and routine later." No. The shift is subtle, unconscious, and almost invisible at first. But over time, the guarantee of your devotion creates a ripple effect inside her psychology, and that ripple eventually becomes a tidal wave. Here's how it begins. Before marriage, every interaction is a test. Every date, every kiss, every late-night text. It all carries weight. She wonders, does he still like me? Is he still interested? Am I still the one? That uncertainty keeps her engaged, keeps her performing, keeps her fire alive. But once you're married, the test is over. She knows you're there. She knows you're invested. She knows you've chosen her. And once she has certainty, her mind shifts from pursuit to maintenance, and that shift is deadly to passion. Men don't notice it immediately. In the honeymoon phase, everything still feels alive. But gradually, you start to see it. The little things she used to do, the effort, the surprises, the affection, they fade. Not because she stopped caring, but because she stopped fearing loss. That fear, as toxic as it sounds, is part of what kept her fire burning. When the risk is gone, the craving for excitement grows louder. Now let's talk about validation. Before marriage, validation was constant. She posted a photo online, and men filled her comments with attention. She went out with you, and she caught stares from strangers. Even as she built a relationship, she was surrounded by a constant flood of reminders that she was desired. But marriage creates a paradox. On one hand, she gains security. On the other, she loses novelty. Your validation doesn't hit the same because it's guaranteed. And strangers? Well, society tells her that craving their attention is wrong. So what happens? She buries her cravings, and buried cravings don't die, they grow. This is why you'll see married women become addicted to social media. The likes, the comments, the "you still got it" reactions. It's her way of secretly feeding the desire she'll never admit to you. She might tell herself she's just posting for fun. But deep down, she knows that every heart emoji is proof she still matters in a world that doesn't hand validation to her as easily as it did at 22. Men misinterpret this all the time. You think she's just bored. You think she's just distracted. But the truth is, her secret desires are surfacing, and she's looking for ways to satisfy them without admitting it. That's why a simple compliment from a stranger can light her up more than your devotion. It's not that she values him more than you. It's that his attention feels optional, chosen, scarce, and scarcity is addictive. Now imagine the effect of routine. You go to work, come home, watch TV, go to bed, you plan vacations, you pay bills, you build a life together. From the outside, it looks stable, but stability to her feels like repetition. And repetition is the slow death of excitement. What once made her feel alive now feels ordinary. And no matter how much she loves you, she can't help but crave the spark she felt when everything was new. Here's where the danger comes in. She won't tell you this. She won't say, "I miss being pursued. I miss the thrill of uncertainty. I miss feeling like I had to earn your attention." She can't admit it because it sounds shallow, ungrateful, even cruel. So instead, she reframes it. She tells herself, maybe I'm not happy. Maybe something is missing. Maybe he's not the same man I married. But what really changed wasn't you. It was the psychology that comes with marriage itself. Think about the common complaints husbands hear. We don't have fun anymore. I don't feel the spark. I just need some space. These aren't just random phrases. They're coded language for her hidden desires. She's not really saying she doesn't love you. She's saying she misses the part of herself that thrived on being chased, desired, validated. Marriage took that away, not because of you, but because of the guarantee that comes with you. And here's the cruel twist. The more loyal you are, the less exciting you feel. The more predictable you become, the more invisible you seem. You think being consistent is the highest form of love, but in her psychology, consistency competes with novelty, and novelty always wins. That's why so many husbands find themselves blindsided when their wives pull away. They didn't see the warning signs, because the signs don't look like betrayal. They look like little changes. She spends more time on her phone. She starts dressing differently. She seems more interested in girls' nights than date nights. You dismiss it as phases, but those phases are symptoms. Symptoms of a deeper craving she will never put into words. And here's the brutal part. Society doesn't just ignore this shift, it celebrates it. Every article, every talk show, every influencer tells her she deserves happiness, that she should never settle, that if she feels something is missing, she's brave for chasing it. Instead of warning her about the dangers of chasing secret desires, the culture fuels them. And the man, the one who gave her loyalty, devotion, stability, becomes the villain in the story. This is why marriage feels so different for men and women. For men, marriage is the end of the chase. For women, marriage is the end of the spark. And if you don't understand that difference, you'll be standing in the wreckage of your marriage, wondering why the woman who begged you to marry her became the woman who looks at you like a stranger. By now you understand that marriage doesn't simply settle a woman, it transforms her. The very guarantee she begged for rewires how she sees you, and that shift always comes with signs. The problem is, most men ignore those signs until they explode in their faces. Let's go through them. The first sign is emotional withdrawal. At the start of your marriage, she shared everything: her thoughts, her feelings, her plans. She called you on her way home, she texted you about her day. You were the center of her emotional world. But gradually, that flow slows down. She stops oversharing. She keeps little details to herself. You ask how her day was, and she shrugs. It's not that she suddenly hates you. It's that her mind is searching for stimulation, for novelty, for something that doesn't feel guaranteed. And once her emotions start drifting, her body won't be far behind. The second sign is new attention to appearance. At first you might celebrate it. She's working out more. She's dressing up. She's posting more pictures online. You think, great, she's taking care of herself. But here's the truth. If she's not dressing up for you, she's dressing up for someone. Maybe not a specific man yet, but for the possibility of validation. She will never admit this, even to herself. She'll say she's just feeling better, or taking time for herself. But every new outfit, every new pose in front of the mirror, is her shadow side whispering, do I still have it? Can I still turn heads? The third sign is rewriting history. You'll notice her language change. Instead of we've had great years together, it becomes we've had struggles. Instead of we've been through so much, it becomes I've sacrificed so much. Slowly she reframes the story of your marriage. Why? Because she's preparing a narrative. If she acts on her hidden desires, she needs to justify them, to her friends, to her family, to herself. And the easiest way to do that is by turning you from her partner into her prison guard. You go from husband to villain, not because you changed, but because her psychology needs you to. The fourth sign is new friends with old wounds. Watch closely who she spends time with. Women who are divorced, bitter, constantly complaining about men. These are not just friends, they're fuel. They become her echo chamber. They tell her she deserves more, that she's settling, that she needs to find herself. And the more she hears it, the more her hidden desires gain permission to act. What once felt like betrayal now feels like empowerment. The fifth sign is her relationship with her phone. It becomes her lifeline. The device that once kept her connected to you now keeps her connected to everyone but you. She guards it, hides it, lives through it. She scrolls for hours, compares her behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel, and convinces herself she's missing out. That glowing screen becomes the window to her secret desires. And the more she stares into it, the less she sees you. Men ignore these signs because they want to believe their marriage is safe. But safety is the exact illusion that blinds you. You tell yourself she's just stressed, or she's just tired, or it's just a phase. And by the time you admit the truth, she's already halfway out the door. Now let's be brutal. This is why marriages collapse even when the husband did everything right. He provided, he stayed loyal, he raised the kids, he planned vacations, he kept his vows, and still she detonated the life they built. Why? Because her hidden desires were never about logic. They were about feelings, and when those feelings weren't triggered inside the marriage, she went searching outside of it. Think of the countless stories. The woman who left a stable marriage for a co-worker. The wife who blew up her family for a man at the gym. The mother of 3 who risked everything for a fling with someone who offered nothing. To the outside world it looks insane. To her it felt like survival. Because when her hidden desires scream loud enough, even destruction feels like liberation. And here's where society steps in to make it worse. Instead of holding her accountable, the culture cheers her on. Magazines, talk shows, even therapists tell her she's brave for following her heart. They tell her she deserves better, that she should never settle, that happiness matters more than vows, family, or stability. They don't call it betrayal. They call it empowerment. And men are left as collateral damage, wondering how the woman who once promised forever turned into someone who treats them like the problem. The cruelest part? She will never admit the real reason. She won't say, I craved validation, I missed the chase, I got bored of stability. Instead, she'll point the finger at you. You stopped being romantic. You changed. You didn't listen. And maybe you did make mistakes. Everyone does, but those weren't the real cause. They were just excuses. Excuses to mask the reality that marriage triggered desires she could no longer ignore. This is why you need to see clearly. Not to hate women, not to become paranoid, but to stop living blind. Because the men who get destroyed are the ones who never believed this could happen to them. They thought their wife was different. They thought their marriage was bulletproof. They thought loyalty was enough. And then they woke up in ruins, saying the same words every betrayed husband says. I never saw it coming. Brother, it's always coming. The only question is whether you'll see the signs before it's too late. The harshest truth about marriage isn't that women change. It's that they change in ways men are completely unprepared for. You walk into it with love, loyalty, and blind faith, believing those things will carry you forever. But blind faith doesn't protect you from psychology, and psychology doesn't care about vows, rings, or promises. What marriage really gives a woman is a new battlefield. She no longer fights to win you, she fights against herself, against her boredom, her cravings, her fear of fading. And that war rarely ends with gratitude. More often, it ends with destruction. Look at how it plays out. At first, she pulls away emotionally. Then she seeks validation in small, harmless ways. The selfies, the nights out, the secret smiles at strangers. Eventually, that validation finds a face, a coworker, a trainer, an old flame. Suddenly, there's another man in her mind, and once her secret desires attach to him, everything you've built becomes disposable. What devastates men the most is not just the betrayal, but the rewriting of history. She can't admit she changed because of hidden desires, so she invents a story. You were never romantic, you were too controlling, you didn't make her happy. She convinces herself of this lie, so she doesn't have to face the real truth. She destroyed her marriage chasing a high that would never last, and she convinces everyone else too. Friends, family, even your children hear her version of events. Suddenly, you're not the loyal husband, you're the villain in her liberation story. Think about how cruel that is. You stood by her, you gave her your best years, you raised children together, you sacrificed dreams, time, money, everything for the life you thought you were both building. And your reward is being painted as the jailer she escaped from. That's the cost of believing marriage was the safe zone. And let's not forget the children. Nobody talks about them when society applauds women for finding themselves. But they pay the heaviest price. They lose stability. They lose innocence. They grow up in broken homes, shuttled back and forth like baggage, while mum chases validation, and dad struggles to make sense of the chaos. Years later, they sit in therapy, trying to understand why the people who were supposed to protect them destroyed everything over feelings. That's the real legacy of hidden desires unleashed. Meanwhile, the culture encourages it. Every show, every article, every influencer tells her she deserves happiness no matter the cost. They celebrate her rebellion, her escape, her bravery. They never show the aftermath. The single mum crying alone on Christmas while her kids stay with their father. The woman realizing the new man wasn't a soulmate, just a distraction. The years wasted chasing butterflies that turned out to be anxiety, not love. Society hides those consequences because if they showed them, the fantasy would collapse. And you're told to accept it, to work on yourself, to understand her, to forgive, as if your devotion was the problem, as if your loyalty wasn't enough. But the truth is, no amount of working on yourself can compete with cravings she refuses to admit. You cannot fight what she denies, and denial is the most dangerous weapon she has. So what's the lesson here? It's not to hate women, it's not to avoid marriage entirely. The lesson is to see clearly, to stop living under illusions, to understand that marriage doesn't freeze desire, it transforms it. And if you don't recognize how, you'll be blindsided like every man before you. Pay attention to her actions, not her words. Watch for the signs, the withdrawal, the validation seeking, the rewriting of history, the new friends, the guarded phone. These are not random quirks, they are signals. Signals that the psychology of marriage is at work, and her hidden desires are rising to the surface. And here's the ultimate truth, a woman will never admit this to you. She can't, because if she did, you'd never look at her the same again. You'd see that beneath the vows and the promises lies a shadow self that marriage only amplifies, a shadow that craves novelty, danger, validation, things your loyalty can never replace. She hides it because she wants you to believe in forever, but forever is fragile when built on fantasies. Brother, don't be the man who says, "I never saw it coming." Be the man who sees clearly, who understands the game, who knows that marriage doesn't change love, it changes psychology, and psychology always wins. If this opened your eyes, stay with me, because the truths men need to hear are never the ones society tells. They're the ones hidden, denied, buried under layers of lies. Here, we dig them up. Here we face them head on. And once you see them, you can never unsee them.